Hello and welcome to the open source video blog number 8. My name is Leonovi. I'm a software engineer and I'm doing this live stream covering news about open source software and open source hardware as a hobby, fun thing. It's Sunday, almost midnight here in my time zone. I'm based in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. It's been a while since the last episode. As I said, I'm doing this just for fun, so I try to make it every month. Unfortunately, I've skipped a couple of months because I had to take care for my family. But now I'm back, and this is the edition for March 2021. We'll cover interesting things. I have a lot of things for unboxing, so it's gonna be untypical episode compared to what we have done previously. Thank you for watching it. I'll try to keep it about 20-30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Please let me know if you have any comments in the live chat. It will be great to see your comments after that as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. In the previous episodes, we covered and we talked a lot about Hacktoberfest. This was an open source event in October last year, and what happened is that after making several GitHub pull requests, people received gift bags, and here I have a gift bag which I received this month, but I haven't opened yet. It's let me show it to you. It's here. And now I'm gonna unbox it. It was delivered via the post. It's shipped, I think, from the US. I think, no, actually it was shipped from Deutschland. Sorry, it's for German, Deutsche Post. So it was received here in Bulgaria by Bulgarian Post. Let's open it. I received it a few weeks ago. It was in the beginning of March, but I didn't want to open it till the live stream, so a great moment of truth. All right, there's a t-shirt here. You see, this is my old t-shirt from Hacktoberfest 2019, and this is the one from 2020. Here it is. There were cover choices. I took this blue one. Yeah, it's the blue one. It's I think yeah, it's the large size. I have to get back in shape if I want to fit a different size, but yeah, this is Hacktoberfest 2020. So next time, in the next episode, you'll see me with this t-shirt. The whole idea of the Hacktoberfest competition was that people submit GitHub pull requests in projects that were registered in this competition. If you make enough GitHub pull requests, you receive this gift bag. Let's see what we else here have in this gift bag. There are plenty of other things as well. Things are falling. Whoa, there's so many things. That's pretty cool. There are stickers. A lot of stickers. A lot of stickers. This one is not in perfect shape, but yeah. Yeah, there are some marketing materials from the companies supporting Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest have happened almost half a year ago, so it's been a while since I've participated and received things. This sticker is pretty cool. Yeah, this is something that I may put on my laptop. Oh, beer coaster. Beer coaster, you can use it with your tea as well. That's convenient. I like it. And cheers, this is tea, by the way. I'm a tea person. Another cool GitHub sticker. JetBrains. All right, JetBrains. That's cool. Oh, Mattermost. This is Mattermost. This is an open source project that I'm actually using in my day-to-day work. It's an open source alternative of Slack, really cool for communicating between teams and even between companies and their customers. Great open source solution. More stickers. There are stickers everywhere. All right, Intel sticker. Intel was one of the sponsors of Hacktoberfest. So yeah, Hacktoberfest has been completed. I've got a new t-shirt. You see me wearing it in near future. Please let me know in the comments if you also participated in Hacktoberfest. I hope you did, and I hope you've received your gift bag as well. Now let's get back to the slides and move on to the news about Tux. Tux, the mascot of the Linux kernel, turns 30. Yeah, Tux is now 30 years old because the Linux kernel itself is turning 30 years. It's amazing how this all started as a hobby small project of Linus Torvalds. I think it was announced in August 1991, and then it changed the world. Now the majority of the computers on the Earth are running Linux. The majority of the computers running on Mars are also running Linux. And the Linux Foundation is celebrating 30 years of Linux and the Tux mascot. Definitely Tux is the most famous penguin around the world. Yeah, so 30 exciting years, a lot of contributors, a lot of people using Linux, and we're counting because there are more and more projects relying on Linux, especially nowadays with the rise of containers. And speaking about open source news and open source people and important dates, I have some news regarding Richard Stallman. I'm sure that anyone watching this live stream knows who Richard Stallman is. He's the founder of the Free Software Foundation, the lead developer behind the GCC compilers and the GNU Emacs project, which is a very complicated text editor. Richard Stallman turned 68 years old on 16th of March, about a couple of weeks ago, and on 22nd of March this year, it was announced that Richard Stallman is returning to the board of the Free Software Foundation. He established the Free Software Foundation in 1985. This is the year when I was born, after controversial statements in emails regarding the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, Richard Stallman had to leave the Free Software Foundation. This happened in 2019, and now, almost 2 years later, Stallman is back. Some people like it, some people don't like it. It's definitely news. So yeah, Richard Stallman is back in the Free Software Foundation. And we are continuing with the news about famous people. The new 50-pound note released by the Bank of England will be with Alan Turing. I'm sure everyone knows who Alan Turing is. We pretty much value his efforts in the Second World War for cracking the Enigma code and for founding what we now know as computers. As of course, computers back then were completely different, but he is definitely a historical person, a person that is nowadays very well known, and he's famous not only in England but around the world. And in the UK, they'll have him on this new note. Pretty cool and pretty exciting. We'll continue with news from the UK because there are a lot of things going on in the world of Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi Pico was announced this month, or actually in February, but it's something really new, super exciting, because this is new flexible microcontroller board, which costs about €4. I bought a few of them for €4. The exciting thing is that Raspberry Pi until today was something that we used to have as a low-cost Linux computer. And now Raspberry Pi is moving on to the world of microcontrollers, which is kind of competition to brands, well-known brands such as, for example, Arduino. But actually, it's not exactly a competition, because Raspberry Pi is also partnering with Arduino, and soon Arduino will release on the market another device with the same microprocessor, which is called RP2040. It's a dual Cortex ARM-M0 plus processor with this means it has 2 cores with up to 133 megahertz. That's quite a lot. I remember having a PC with similar clock rate. It has a lot of GPIOs, which makes it an interesting option for various projects, including a lot of projects for which until recently we used things like Arduino Leonardo or Arduino Nano. Unlike the Raspberry Pi computers, it has a 4-channel analog to digital converter with internal temperature sensor. This is something I've always wondered why there is no analog to digital converter on Raspberry Pi. And as far as I understood from various interviews that I watched of Eben Upton, who's pretty much he brought the original idea about creating Raspberry Pi. The explanation was that the analog to digital converter increases the price, and Raspberry Pi, as we know it until Raspberry Pi Pico, was a single board computer for Linux, and pretty much something that was designed as a desktop computer for kids. Of course, things changed, and now we have this exciting news that we are moving to having this Pico. I've got 3 of those. They are available, difficult to find, still difficult to find, but available at Raspberry Pi resellers. I bought it from the Romanian reseller who is covering Bulgaria. So I've got 3 of those. You see how they come, very simple packaging, and you can see that all the components are surface mount components. This means it's easy to manufacture. It's easy and cheap to manufacture, and the price is really good. Let's do my first unboxing. Here, I told you in this episode we'll do a lot of unboxing. There are no headers. It's just like this, and I'll need to solder headers and figure out projects to see what I can, use it for. And yeah, let me know if you have any ideas, if you also have Raspberry Pi Pico, what you're going to use it. One of the interesting things is that it has a USB 1.1 host device, which makes it an interesting option for making mechanical keyboards. You know that recently I've been involved in the making small mechanical keyboards efforts. So this is something that I'll keep in mind as an option, as a replacement of the chips that I'm using at the moment. And I've got a few of those, so hopefully in near future you'll see some videos on this channel with these little gadgets. It's really exciting, primarily because of the price. And when the price is affordable, when there is the right price, this means that people will buy them and will use them in a lot of different projects. Now let's get back to the slides. Yeah, this is a better picture of what I've just showed you, and this is the little bit more information about the microprocessor here. So it's called so this is Raspberry Pi Pico on the left. On the right is the name of the microprocessor. It starts with RPi, which obviously stands for Raspberry Pi, followed by the number of cores, which are 2 in this case. Type of the cores, it's M0, as I said, so that's why here we got 0. Here is the with the floors and the floors again. So it's RP2040. This is the name of this little chip over here, and we'll be seeing this in many other development boards. There will be Arduino already announced the development board, which is I think it's not yet available, but will be soon available, an open source hardware development board with this microcontroller that adds a Wi-Fi to it. The only disadvantage that I can find out about this little nice gadget is that it doesn't have Wi-Fi. And for example, if you want a Wi-Fi, you probably go to ESP8266 or ESP32. This is the only disadvantage that I see here, but still really exciting. And considering this naming convention of Raspberry Pi Foundation, I think they have in mind making a whole ecosystem of these microcontrollers. So I'll be keeping an eye on them, and I expect to see more and more development boards on the market with this, and not only development boards, but also a lot of gadgets. People will start using them a lot, in my opinion. In the previous episodes, I think we've talked about Raspberry Pi 400. This is another relatively new product released on the market by the Raspberry Pi Foundation. It's a computer keyboard, which is not just a keyboard, but it's a whole computer. It's very similar to Raspberry Pi 4 in terms of hardware specifications. The difference is the form factor, because you have a keyboard which is actually a computer. This reminds me old school computers such as Commodore 64 or Sinclair Spectrum computers. Those of you who are near my age know what I'm talking about. Really cool computers from the 80s and the beginning of 90s. A computer that you can hold in your backpack, carry around without a monitor, of course, and plug it into your TV. And Raspberry Pi 400 is having an HDMI. Modern TVs also have HDMI, so it's easy to plug it in a TV. Really, it has this nostalgia thinking in older people like me, and I really enjoy this thing. It was really hard to get one, but I have one. I'm not among the first owners, actually. Probably I'm the last person having this thing. But yeah, I managed to find it from a reseller in Bulgaria. They are Farna resellers. And the best thing, it's still difficult to find it, especially with a US keyboard. I wanted it to have it with a US keyboard, so I got it. I bought it, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I was so busy with work that it's still in the box, untouched in the box, and I'll try to do unboxing right here. This is another unboxing that we're doing here live. Let me see how this works. This is really unscripted, so yeah. Okay, it's easy to unbox it. All right, it's here. Looks like a keyboard. By the way, I have the official Raspberry Pi keyboard as well. So, but it looks pretty much the same. Let me show you the difference. Actually, just a second to switch. So yeah, here I have the keyboard. Let's compare it. That's the keyboard above, and that's the Raspberry Pi. I'm using a web camera, so I'm sure you're not seeing it very well, but yeah, here are the difference. This is the lighter version. It's smaller. And here is the Raspberry Pi 400. On the back, you can see all the ports. And here is the 40-pin header, which has some cover above it. I don't have nails. Cannot remove it. Anyway, so here is the header where you can plug various Raspberry Pi add-on boards, including the famous hats, hardware and touch on top. I got the US layout, which I really enjoyed that I was able to do. On the back, you can see the label. It says Raspberry, the model, and it's made in the UK. Yeah, that's pretty exciting for me. And another thing that I hope to cover in new videos on my YouTube channel as soon as I have time to do it. Now moving on to something really exciting again. It's again about a hardware project. BeagleBone Foundation announced BeagleV, and V is because they are using RISC-V. This is the first affordable open source hardware RISC-V Linux computer. It will be capable of running Linux. It will cost about $150 US. Of course, this is without shipping and probably without taxes. It has a 46-bit RISC-V VIC7100 *5 system on a chip. Details are available at BeagleBone website. BeagleBone is a foundation. They're famous for their development boards that they have been doing for almost a decade now. I'm sure you're all familiar with BeagleBone Black, BeagleBone Blue, and so on. The whole range. Those devices were with Texas Instruments system on a chip until now. This is going to be the very first BeagleBone with RISC-V. So they're moving away from ARM to RISC-V. This is really exciting. This is not the first board on the market with RISC-V. We have like the Unleash boards, but they costed like $1,000 US, really expensive for enthusiasts. Now with a price range of $150 US, this is the expected price range for this board. This will be affordable and people will be able to get their hands on, to work with it, to experiment with it. And it's a great combination of open source hardware, because BeagleBone Foundation is known for publishing all the schematics as open source hardware, and RISC-V, which is a concept for open computer architecture as an alternative of ARM. Really exciting. We'll be following the news about it, hopefully in the next editions of the open source video blog, and I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting projects with this. Stay tuned for details and visit beaglebone.org/BeagleV to learn more. Now let's talk about upcoming open source events. The Open Source Hardware Summit is happening on 9th of April. This is in about less than 2 weeks, and it's in about 12 days or something. It's going to be a virtual event for a second year in a row. It's going to be a virtual event. I've already subscribed to it. I think there will be live streaming for free. The talks. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, to be honest. I know that some of the speakers have been announced, but I haven't looked into details. There will be live streaming it. You can register, and I already registered. There will be a gift bag for anyone who registered. As far as I understood, the gift bags will be sent from the US, which means that it will take a while until we receive them here in Europe and clear them from customs. Yeah, in Europe, if you receive something that's more than, or at least the country where I live in Bulgaria, if you receive something that costs more than 15 euros, you have to go through customs, pay taxes. Paying taxes is okay. I'm actually happy to pay taxes, but there is a whole bureaucracy behind this. However, I'm sure the give back coming from the Open Source Hardware Summit will be something really cool. So I'm really interested to get my hands on it. The Open Source Hardware Summit is organized by the Open Source Hardware Association, which is a non-profit organization registered in the United States. They make this summit possible as well. They run the open source hardware certification program. So if you make an open source hardware device and you want to certify it for free, the Open Source Hardware Association is there to help you. Furthermore, we'll cover a couple of events at the end of September and beginning of October. Embedded Linux Conference is a famous event, one of my favorite events. Of course, it's very specific for the embedded industry. It's an event organized for many years by the Linux Foundation. In general, there are two editions, one edition for North America and another edition for Europe. However, in 2021, things are different. and of course they're different due to the pandemic. The scheduled event for North America was cancelled. Instead of making it virtual, Linux Foundation just decided to cancel it and to host one event which is not going to be regional. It will be global event. It's going to be Embedded Linux Conference. If it's possible, they'll do it in Dublin. They had a plan to do Embedded Linux Conference last year in 2020, again in Dublin. Of course, all these plans changed and they made it as a virtual event. So now the plan is that if it's possible, we'll gather there in Dublin and have the event. If not, it's going to be a virtual event. The call for papers is open. So if you have a cool idea in mind, you still have plenty of time to wrap it up and submit it. Visit the website of the event to learn more and to see how to participate as a speaker if you have these cool ideas in mind. And also there's another quite well-known Linux conference in the community, Linux Plumbers. So they decided to do it as a co-located event with the Embedded Linux Conference, if it's possible, on at the end of September, on the dates when Embedded Linux Conference is starting, again in the same place in Dublin. However, the fallback solution, if it's not possible to have face-to-face meetings in September, is to do a virtual event. So yeah, 2021, I'm sure has a lot of surprises for all of us, but eventually we may have some physical events going on. It's too early to say, but we'll see. And fingers crossed that these events will happen in person, that we'll be able to safely meet each other in Dublin. We'll see how it goes, of course. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the open source video blog. As I promised, it's gonna be like 20-30 minutes, and I think we fit in this promise. I'm not able to see any of the chats. Let me see. Where's this? All right. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be interested to see your comments. And yeah, and see you soon again. Thank you very much again. All right. See you. Thanks for watching.